Hi everybody, Daniel Patron with S3 Realty. Last week we had a question on our Facebook page from Scott. He asked us to kind of shed some light on the pros and cons of new build versus purchasing an existing home. So it's a huge topic and we obviously can't cover it in a short video. We wanted to at least stick a stab at it and give you a quick overview anyway. So we're going to focus on the new builds first. And new builds fall into two categories. That's a custom home and then what we call spec homes, which are homes that are built to specifications. So custom homes are exactly what it sounds like. You got an idea in your head, take it to a architect, they draw blueprints, take the blueprints to a builder, and the builder builds that custom home for you. And that can be a 900 square foot cabin, or it could be a 9,000 square foot mansion. So we're not going to tackle that so much. Most home buyers kind of focus on the big builders, the non-custom builders, to buy a spec home. So that's where we're going to focus a lot of our time. So the pros of buying a new home, a new spec home. Obviously, it's new. No one sat on that toilet before. No one has ran that dishwasher. New water heater, new furnace, new roof. And so all of just having that new is obviously a great benefit. There's also a lot of people love the customization that they can do in some of the new builds. They get to pick the tile, they get to pick the colors, they get to pick the countertop surface, they get to pick the flooring. So there's a lot of customization that goes into it, even down to the spindles on your railings going up and down your stairs. You have customization options. So a lot of people really love making a home that really reflects them, and that creation process is very exciting, although kind of stressful at times. So another thing is because it's new, it's at the top level of energy efficiency, which can be pretty huge, especially in some of the colder months. And then along with it being new, there's minimal maintenance. You're going to have pretty maintenance-free life for the first couple of years, is standard stuff, and so that is also a huge pro. A lot of the communities, a lot of the new builds happening here in Colorado are happening in communities, neighborhoods, and developments. So a lot of times you get some of those community amenities, walking, biking trails, maybe a green space or a pond, or maybe there's a fitness center or a pool in your community or neighborhood. Maybe your community or neighborhood does events like farmers markets or whatever it may be, Easter egg hunts. So not only are you buying a house, but you're also buying kind of a community environment lifestyle that a lot of people really value. So those are some of the pros of building new. Some of the cons for building new. Right off the bat, generally, the prices are going to be a little bit higher for that finished square foot product. And then not only are the prices typically a little higher, there are a lot of hidden costs involved in new builds. Some places you can even charge hookup fees for utilities. A lot of things don't come standard, and then you have to constantly do upgrades. A lot of people will see a model, they'll ask how much it is, they'll hear, oh, it's $300,000, but what they're not saying is the privacy fence doesn't come with it, the backyard landscaping doesn't come with it. It comes standard with carpet in this room and not hardwood. And so once you start getting through all those hidden costs on the new build, the price really starts to climb. So you got to be really careful when you get into the new build to make sure that you and the builder both know exactly what each of you are getting and paying, because those costs can creep up pretty quickly. Small lots. A lot of the new communities and neighborhoods that are being built in Colorado Springs area are on smaller lots. Now, obviously, there's two reasons for that. One, the builder can make a little extra money if they can fit more homes on the same amount of ground. But also, it's a cost savings to the consumer, because if they gave you larger lots, they'd have to charge you more for them. So again, some people may look at the small lots and say, "Oh, that's great. I never wanted a big lot," and other people might say, "I really wish our yard was bigger." So that's a con, in my opinion, but in some other people's opinion, it may be a pro. So typically, again, in these communities here in Colorado Springs, you're going to have a couple of builders in every neighborhood or community, and each of those builders is going to have a set of floor plans that they're going to utilize and start from. So In any neighborhood, you might have 30, 40 different home types, and that can give it a kind of a cookie cutter feel when there is hundreds of homes in a particular neighborhood or area, and then there are 30 or 40 different homes, so you may have a similar home model or floor plan of your neighbors, and some people don't like that, so I consider that a con of the new builds. Again, it's kind of speaking Colorado Springs specific. A lot of the new building is happening on the edge of the city, either up north or out east. And so if location's important to you, if you work downtown, not being towards the center of the city could be a con for some people. And then a lot of people that I help find homes, they say we really want to have a big tree in our yard. We want to kind of be in a mature neighborhood, and you don't get that with a new build. Obviously, it's a new build, it's a new community, new neighborhood, and you're not going to have big, tall trees typically in those areas. So that can be a con for some people. Another thought is HOA. So that amenities that I talked about earlier being a pro, they come with a cost. And so typically if you're in a community that offers some type of community amenity, there's going to be an HOA associated with that. And of course, it's extra expense every month, which is a con. So pro on one side, con on the other. So now switching over to existing homes. And really, it's the exact opposite of everything that I just mentioned are the pros and cons of new builds. So switching to existing homes, some of the pros for existing homes are obviously the price is generally a little lower than that of a new build. You're going to have fewer hidden costs. I mean, that privacy fence is, what you see is what you get kind of deal. So that privacy fence is going to be built in the back. There's probably not going to be extra landscaping to be done. That basement's probably finished. So those hidden costs are less when you buy an existing home. Potentially, you have larger lots in an existing home situation. Some people really like to have character in their home. They don't want it to be a cookie cutter, so having that character could be a pro of an existing home. And of course, if you're a little more central, you buy in an older home, closer to the heart of the city, location becomes a pro if you like being downtown, if you like being near the heart of the city. And then the mature neighborhood kind of goes right along with that. You may find yourself in an area that has big trees, and a lot of people really like to be in mature areas with mature trees. It just means a lot to a lot of people. And then obviously the no HOA. So the no HOA means that you're saving money every month, and so that's a huge pro for a lot of people. Now the cons of existing homes are exact opposite. It's old. You're probably not going to have a new furnace, water heater, or roof. So along with it being old, you may have to sink some money into it to get it to be exactly where you want it to be. Not as efficient. That's kind of when you buy an older house, those R values, maybe the windows are old, maybe the furnace is a little older and it's not as efficient. Insulation in the attic may not be as good, and so efficiency can be a pretty big con to some of the older homes. And then right along with it is more maintenance, because let's face it, everything is a little older. You're going to have to paint that exterior, maybe get a roof replaced. Maybe you're going to have to do some maintenance on a furnace or water lines or wiring that's older that you may need to update. Appliances could be older that you may need to update. So maintenance on older houses is obviously going to be a little more than a new build. And kind of going along with the pro of no HOA, there's the con that you're not getting that lifestyle if that's important to you. So not going to be a fitness center or a pool or things along those lines, and it'll just be more whatever the community is going on, the community at large, not a community like a neighborhood. So anyway, that's kind of a rough shakedown of pros and cons of new build versus existing home. I know that a lot of it's common sense. Like, yeah, that's exactly what I expected. And a lot of it's personalization. A lot of people, some people just don't want to be in a cookie-cutter neighborhood for whatever reason. Some people really want to be in a mature neighborhood for whatever reason. So it really comes down to personal taste. And then it also obviously always shakes down to the dollars, which is the better deal. And there's no way to stand here and say that an existing home is a better deal or a new build is an existing deal. You just can't make a general blanket statement, and you got to take every client and every situation on a case-by-case basis to kind of figure out which one's the best for that client, for their budget. So anyway, bottom line, find yourself a realtor. Let them kind of help you through the process. They've bought and sold many existing homes. They've bought and sold many new builds, so they're gonna know what questions to ask to kind of reveal some of the hidden costs on a new build, and they're gonna know what to look for to find some of those hidden deficiencies on an existing home. So, biggest piece of advice: find a realtor, do your homework, crunch the numbers, compare what you're getting on either side, and then you get to make the decision for you. So I hope that helps shed a little light, and thank you very much for the question. We look forward to more questions. Just post them on our Facebook, and we'll do a video similar to this to answer your question. So thanks very much, and we'll see you on the next video. Bye.